probably took a little stoking along just to gather his stride. It's a little bit of a saunter in truth through the first furlong. Continuous, Ryan Moore in front, but in no great haste, stalked by Will Buick aboard Rebels Romance. Sweet William has now picked up the bit and moves up into third place. Tracking the leading trio at the end of a quarter of a mile is Epic Poet, and the grey Al Sakib looks on from the final position, and Continuous is being allowed an uncontested lead as they move across the far side of the Naysmire at a very steady gallop. Continuous over Rebels Romance, Sweet William the pink cap for Rab Havlin, Epic Poet the shades of blue, Danny Tuthope in fourth, and the grey Al Sakib under double chasing PJ McDonald last of the five. And it's almost single file stuff as they now move beyond the Juddmonte International starting point and on towards the final 9 furlongs. So Continuous, Ryan Moore doing it pretty much on his own terms. Buick is slipstreaming him aboard Rebels Romance, the Godolphin Blue Silks. Epic Poet moving up on the far side of Sweet William, but Al Sakib continues at the back end of the field. The final mile is in sight now, and Continuous going enthusiastically in the first time blinkers, has a lead of a little under 2 lengths to Rebels Romance, who in turn is tracked by Epic Poet and Sweet William covered up against the running rail. Al Sakib last as they move through halfway in the Boodles Yorkshire Cup. Been very little change in the order throughout. Continuous, Ryan Moore still with a pretty tight hold of his head. Rebels Romance slipstreaming. Sweet William on the near side of Epic Poet and 2 lengths away to Al Sakib. Moving into the turn inside the last 3/4 of a mile now. And Continuous has Rebels Romance at his quarters. And if anything, that pace has just steadied still further. Heading to the crown of the bend in the last 5 furlongs in the Boodles Yorkshire Cup. Continuous Rebels Romance. Sweet William will turn on in a very close third. And then Epic Poet in a light blue jacket and Al Sakib, although last of the 5, is only 3 lengths off the lead. They are just beginning to drift down the centre of the Naysmire on inside the last half mile. Continuous on the right. Buick is bringing Rebels Romance stand side of centre, stalked by Sweet William and Epic Poet. Right down the middle, the grey Al Sakib is asked for an effort. So the 5 of them have fanned out much of the width of the track now as they move on down towards the last 2.5 furlongs. Continuous on the right, asks for more. Al Sakib, the grey, closing in. On the left, Rebels Romance. Sweet William, the pink cap, ridden along with stamina assured. Epic Poet hard under the rail, on down towards the last furlong of the Yorkshire Cup. Rebels Romance into a narrow lead. Epic Poet and Sweet William are challenging Al Sakib and Continuous. Rebels Romance inching home here. Epic Poet, though, challenging strongly down the near side. Rebels Romance all out in the Boodles Yorkshire Cup from Epic Poet. Sweet William, Continuous and Al Sakib close up in a bunch finish.
What a fascinating tactical battle that was, but in the end, best horse wins race. Rebels Romance, who was conceding weight all round, a 7-time Group 1 winner. He's now reached a new frontier, that of 14 furlongs, and he has won the Boodles Yorkshire Cup. For William Buick and Charlie Appleby, a 5th win for Godolphin in the race, but a first for Charlie Appleby. The previous ones provided by Saeed bin Saror, back when sales were great with Godolphin. In second, Epic Poet has run off his face. Really good run for Danny Tudhope and David O'Mara, and it is close up in third, fourth and fifth for William Buick, Sweet William, Continuous and Al Sakib. They came across the whole of the track in the straight. It was pretty nip and tuck between the entire field, and we can actually go straight to the winning trader, Charlie Appleby's Benile.
In the back, fascinating tactical battle. What a CV this horse has got. Very well done.
Oh, thank you very much. Hey, look, he's an honour to us all. To train a horse like him. You wouldn't mind half a dozen like him. We'd close the rest of the yard up. But he's a horse that, we've done we all know what he's done over the 1.5 miles there. We just felt we didn't want to be dragging him back overseas at this time of the year anyway. So we thought, let's just try him over this extended trip for him anyway. And with the eye that, if he did this today, we'll have a chat with William when he comes in, and maybe something like the Goodwood Cup,
okay,
and then look at some options autumn time as well. But more importantly, I was delighted. I knew the race was steady, and sometimes it can become a little bit false, can't it, when they go
that
back?
Should have due, didn't it?
Well, it did, yes. But even still, I always think sometimes when they go that steady, when it turns into a bit of a sprint, they've all got a bit of a chance, and that's what it sort of from 2 down looked like everyone had a bit of a squeak. But the one thing, fair play to the horse in second there, but I knew once he got to the shoulders of this fella, he'd find again. That's just typical Rebels Romance.
I was just going to say, when Epic Public came and he looked like he was probably going to go and win it, I thought your fella pulled out plenty.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen that so many times before. Saw it in the Breeders' Cup there last year. You know, he's a horse that looked like he was there to be, to be taken, and he's relentless and just loves to dig it in when he has to.
For a 7-year-old, what a willing attitude.
Oh my God, yeah, you wouldn't mind. You wouldn't mind horses like him stepping out every morning. It makes life a lot easier.
Great CV, and hopefully be boosted even further. Great performance, very well done.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Cheers.